Hey guys, it's Callus here with your fix of Saturday games, Callus Invitational 5. We have a great one here between two of the most expensive players in SPL, two of the most dominant players in their respective mains. And like I said, when this pairing was announced, I don't know that these guys have ever played against each other before, and I think it makes it that much more exciting. We've got Tricking on the bottom, Dua Lupa, one of the very, very best, if not, I mean, he's got to probably just be the best Gen 7 and 8 player. I was going to say new Gens player in general, uh, but there's almost no one, if not literally no one, in the whole world that I would take to start my SPL team with than Tricking. Guy is just absurdly dominant. On the other end, Fear, one of the very best and with the most longevity among the GSCers in the SPL scene. Very good year after year after year. Knows the tier as good as anybody. Here they are clashing in round one for Callus Invitational 5 in neither of their mains. Good old EDV. Very excited to see it. Can't wait for this to play out. Didn't get to catch these games live, so even more interested in however this goes. Let's get into it. It's game one of a best of three. Dua Lupa, like I said, is Tricking on the bottom. Fear is, well, Fear on the top. They both have a Zapdos, and it's going to be a sub and a BP respectively. We end up with a T-Tar staring down Zapdos. Eats a T-Bolt, pretty good damage, 46%, and he's going to show Ice Beam. Crit there, obviously irrelevant. He does not have leftovers, so might be looking at a Lumtar. Gonna go for Fire Blast now. I think we're probably looking at a Crunch Pursuit Lumtar. Lax is going to come in to check the Coon. I noticed that Coon has been a very popular Pokemon in this tournament up to this point, though it is very early on. There's a switch back to Zapdos as a Calm Mind happens. We saw Surf before, which is on almost every Coon. Sometimes offensive has Hydro Pump, but that's neither here nor there. +1 Surf, underwhelming. Got to be a defensive Coon and a defensive Zapdos to be doing that little at +1. And there's a T-Bolt and the rest, respectively. So, Coon is back up to full health, but he has to kill those two sleep turns, and of course he's still staring down the Zapdos. Zapdos goes for agility on the switch, which is smart because it's very likely it's something that doesn't care about Thunderbolt will come in. Indeed, that is the case in the Doug Trio, and Fear is going to be very ballsy here and opt to stay in and go for Earthquake into the Zapdos there. Interesting play, and he's going to be really, really rewarded for this. He's going to get a ton of damage on the Breloom. He is going to get himself put to sleep with the Spore. Don't know if Dougie was his intended target or not, but that took a lot of guts to make that play. And he didn't quite kill a Pokemon, but he really hurt that Breloom. So now Zapdos is against Loom once again, and Breloom is faster than Zapdos, which, yeah, I mean, maybe we're looking at a defensive Zapdos for both players. Now Lax comes in. That's going to eat a T-Bolt, 26%. Doesn't look to be a great Lax switch in so far for Fear, but we'll see what he's got. T-Tar certainly qualifies if it's not an EQ Lax, but he is going to curse up here, so he very well may have a +1 EQ incoming, and that would do a lot. Both players have a Breloom, actually, and it was an Earthquake. That would have nailed the tower really hard, but Breloom resists it. Now we end up with Loom on Loom. Very ironic that Breloom itself is the Pokemon that ends up getting put to sleep. That seems oh so appropriate. And now here comes a Focus Punch. That's going to do a ton to an incoming Swampert from Tricking. That's going to immediately trigger Salic Berry from what I must think is an N-Pert, but he still gets out of the way in case there's a Mach Punch, which indeed there is. So not a good sequence there for Tricking at all. Fear very much with the momentum now. Big chip damage on multiple pokes on the other side. He trades a Thunderbolt for a Sky Uppercut here. That's a good trade for Tricking. Zapdos obviously faster here and out of Mach Punch range. No reason not to T-Bolt here, so he does exactly that. He connects with Tower on the other side for 32%. He BP's out. Last poke for him has now been revealed. That's meta. Don't like the pursuit for Fear. It was always going to be a BP as opposed to a switch if he wasn't going to stay in, so that pursuit was never going to get its boosted damage. That seems like just a mistake in my opinion, and it is going to be Tricking taking the lead. Thunderbolt does whiff on Pert, however, but Zapdos is faster, follows up with HP Grass. There's the kill, leaves us in a 5-5 situation. So now all the pokes are known. Last poke Jirachi for Fear. Full teams revealed, like I said. Here's the CM. and the Fire Blast respectively. Only 40% after that Combine special defense boost. And here's Combine number 2, another Fire Blast, that one unluckily missing for tricking. That's not where he wants to be, and this game's starting to go really downhill for him really quickly. HP Grass takes out the T-Tar, leaving us in a 5-4 situation. Now Thunder comes down. We've got a wonky Combine 3 attack Rachi going on here. Haven't seen the last move yet, but he connects with a para. Now he shows the last move. Ice Punch, full para, kicks in at a bad time. Terrible. Can't Earthquake there for the kill. And now Ice Punch is going to take out Lax, and tricking is really far behind, 3-5. And another Thunder connecting, 65%, but he at least doesn't find the para this time. If there's any positive to what we just saw, finally the Rachi goes down, but the damage very much done, and tricking very much on the back foot, looking to get cleaned up by Zapdos here. It's Zap on Zap now, 2 low health Pokemon, all that remains for tricking. Make that 1 low health Pokemon. He's going to concede. Needed his Zapdos to be faster and or win the speed tie. Neither of those things occurred, and Fear able to clean it up pretty comfortably. This one started out fairly close until it wasn't, and Fear took over the mid to late game pretty convincingly and took this one down pretty lopsided. Would have been a 4-0 had they played out the final turn. But, as you guys know, and you already know what I'm going to say because I'm a predictable broken record with these narrations, it's a best of 3. So, let's just get into Game 2. Alright, same deal places. It is Dualupa still on the bottom, Fear still on the top for continuity. So, we do have the substitute Jolteon on turn 1 and a Calm Mind from the lead Coon from tricking. T-Bolt and Roar respectively getting rid of the substitute. Finds another Coon, which is probably not ideal for him, but he roars anyway, hoping that he's faster. There was a Lax, it roared out Gar, now it's Lax again. Surf going at the Gengar, but it lands on Lax instead, and Lax should force him out here. But no, he's going to get stubborn and stick it out. So 22 and 23% respectively with the attacks. He's had enough. He's out of here. Maybe he was hoping there was a self-destruct that turn, which he very well still may have, but he doesn't go for it here. And a Scarm gets revealed finally for Dualupa. That's tricking. He's going to spike up, and he's going to protect after that to get himself to 100% and scout what the Gengar wants to do, which was just the generically safe Will-O-Wisp. Focus Punch here, going to catch Dualupa tricking by surprise as he goes to Bliss. Takes 48% of the dome. At least it wasn't a T-Tower, but that was still hefty damage. And there is an Ice Beam, just in case something like a Taunt were to come down, which it didn't. A lot of switching for Fear. Ends up with Jolteon, but that Focus Punch damage has been removed via the Soft Boiled. Now Substitute comes down, immediately broken by the S-Toss. BP out. Gengar hoping there's another S-Toss. There's not. Good prediction for tricking. Going for Ice Beam. Will-O-Wisp happening now. And Blissey continuing to play aggressively. There's another Ice Beam hitting Gar yet again. Focus Punch coming down. Again disrupted. Certainly representing that he can just blow up at any given time. Will we have our first Nurse moment of CALLOUS Invitational? It is not to be. That explosion is not on Blissey. It is on Claydol. It is not a Nurse moment here, and the Claydol lives to tell the tale. Not super well, but it does survive. Meta here does get a Meteor Mash attack raise. Going to be a Protect, get some lefties back, and waste that valuable Meteor Mash PP, especially when we know there's at least the one pressure Pokemon on the side of tricking. So PP could be a factor later in the game. Spike's Lair number 2. No spinner in sight for Fear. Could be a last poke Claydol, often paired with Coon, but as of now, there is no spinner. There's another Meteor Mash, and now an Earthquake before finally getting roared out. And that is an unlucky roar. I mean, not that the Lax would have been amazing either, but Jolteon would have been a nightmare there for tricking, but that's not what came down. And this is going to allow the rest to get off. So Coon back up to 100%. Jolteon obviously a big threat to it. He's now going to sub up, but we know that could be immediately broken by the S-Toss or the Ice Beam, but it's going to be an S-Toss to be safe in case he goes to an Ice Resist like Metagross. So there is the S-Toss, and that's going to pop the sub, of course. S-Toss again. And it's going to be a Curse from the Lax, which has shown only Curse in return up to this point. Don't know if it has coverage moves or Boom. And he's going to go Shadow Ball here. Interesting. I'm not sure what he was predicting there. I guess a Gengar, a not even revealed Gengar, but he's pretty adamant. He keeps going for it. I'm not sure what the Shadow Ball is intended to hit, but he seems to feel pretty strongly there's going to be a Gengar on the other side. Lucky Drill Peck crit for tricking there. That would have done much, much less if not for the crit, but 42% is going to break him free. It's going to kill the Lax, and it's going to put Fear in an even bigger hole, now down 6-4 with 2 unrevealed still for tricking, but of course Fear also has an unrevealed himself. Jolteon going to bite the dust here as well to a Seismic Toss, so now Fear down even more, and it's Last Poke Dougie, which in this situation doesn't seem that great. Earthquake does a lot, but not enough, and Ice Beam kills. Fear down to 2 pokes against all 6 from tricking. This one not super close at all. Looks like he's trying to go down to Last Poke Coon, which, I mean, gotta do what you gotta do, but there's a Dougie and a Boomer and another Coon on the other side. That seems like a real tough ask, but he's going to try it anyway. Full team does at least get revealed for tricking before he sends us almost certainly to a Game 3. He's got a Rachi with Thunderbolt, so that's not so hot for a Last Poke Coon. Calm Mind and Calm Mind, sure, but I don't think Coon's going to like what's coming. There's a T-Bolt for 45%, which is huge. Second Calm Mind, so this next one's going to do less, but still, he doesn't go for it. He goes Calm Mind. Is it a non-roar Coon, which is terrible if that's the case for Fear? Thunderbolt and Surf. Yeah, he doesn't even have Roar. He can't even force it out. So he is just going to die here to the Thunderbolt, and that's that. Neither of these games super close. Fear takes game 1 pretty convincingly. Tricking takes this game pretty convincingly. And we're off to a game 3, which will hopefully be closer than both of these games. So we're going to reset Game 1 and Game 2 out the window. It is one game for the match win, winner take all. Here is Game 3 between Fear and Tricking, Dua Lipa, and of course I will switch those sides for continuity, put Tricking for the 3rd time on the bottom and Fear for the 3rd time on the top, both of them opting for Zapdos and both of them opting for T-Wave on turn 1. Faster Zapdos appears to belong to Tricking. They exchange T-Bolts, which they both get off through the paralysis, but full power kicking in on the following turn for tricking. So advantage Fear, obviously. Thunderbolt again, and Thunderbolt again. Fear has not been the victim of full paralysis just yet, but now he is, and Thunderbolt comes down. However, Zapdos from tricking should not be able to kill Fear here, and he doesn't. He comes up well short, and a rest gets off for Fear. So if tricking does not have rest, this is very advantageous for Fear, and indeed it appears that tricking does not have a rest Zapdos. So a good opening sequence for Fear as he wastes a bunch of PP from the opposing Zapdos, and he gets power on it and damage on it. All good things for Fear, gotta be advantageous for him, and he gets a 10% para here, though it is on a natural cure poke, the opposing Blissey, who gets fully paralyzed here on what was probably just an Ice Beam turn. So, a lot of Lax in this series as well. Popular poke, gonna go for Curse. Fear seems to really like himself some Lax. T-Tar comes in, finds itself body slammed, and a crit. Pretty good turn for Fear. Does he have Earthquake to follow up to make it even worse for Tricking? Tricking does scout for it. He goes for sub, but no Earthquake attempt. Very well may not have it. Coon and Lax have both been very popular in this series. Fear seems to really like both those pokes. He pops the sub with Surf. He gets Focus Punch for 43%, and now he goes back to Lax, catching Blissey, which is presumably why he made that play and what he wanted to switch in on. Good job for Fear. T-Tar reappearing, body slam, fishing for that 30% para, doesn't get it this time. T-Tar does have lefties, so the body slam damage is not a big deal. He's just fishing for the para. Unlucky miss, however, for tricking. Would have gotten some nice chip damage on the Starmie there, and the Starmie might not even have recovered. We don't know, so the damage there that he lost, it might have been relevant, but the fact that he has Surf and not Hydro Pump makes me think it's not an off-star, therefore it probably does have Recover. Nevertheless, would have liked to have gotten the chip damage there if he could. So we're back to this matchup briefly. Great double for Fear, baiting out the T-Tower with the Lax and then doubling back to Dougie. Great play, rewarded for that bold play, gets the Earthquake off and T-Tower goes down. Awesome piloting by an awesome pilot. Fear looking real good in this game. 6-5 advantage and playing very well as a whole. Tricking is going to have to dig himself out of this position that he's in. A full para certainly helps, but he's going to need a little bit more of that, and he's got to be weary of a potential boom from the lax. He's going to chance it, and it's not boom, it's going to be rest. So Starmie is going to be nowhere near able to kill the lax here. Plan B is Jirachi for tricking. Lax is going to stay in, kill one of those sleep turns, goes back to Zapdos just in case, and Rachi going to sub up on the switch. Could be dangerous here with an Ice Punch, and that's exactly what happens. 29% doesn't get the BS freeze, does get his substitute popped with Thunderbolt, sure, but has to be really careful now of dying to the Ice Punch, especially in the sand. But he stays in and goes for Thunderbolt. He's content to do that because he could have revenged with Dugtrio, so he saw that as a worthwhile trade. He goes T-Wave now and gets the lucky para there. Zapdos could have died to an Ice Beam. I think the T-Wave was predicting a switch that didn't come, and he got bailed out. And another full para, 2 in a row for tricking. Unlucky as the Lax again comes in. Doubles back to Doug, and a third full para for Blissey. Tricking got to be frustrated with the poor luck here. There's the Earthquake and the Ice Beam, which surprisingly is a one-hit KO there. Most Dugtrio are EV'd to always live Ice Beams from 100%, but Fears is not, and that might dearly cost him. Having the Dugtrio or not could be the difference between picking off the Starmie or not later, picking off the Jirachi or not later. I'm really surprised that that Ice Beam, even if it is modest max, was able to kill the Dugtrio there. It was probably a good roll, but nevertheless, I'm surprised Fear did not EV his Dugtrio to survive that 100% of the time, and I think that really may matter later. All of a sudden, the Starmie and even more so the Jirachi look like major threats, and Fear can't revenge kill those anymore. The game just changed in a big way. I really liked Fear's position up until that turn. I really can't believe he did not EV his Dugtrio to always survive that Ice Beam. It's so common, it's almost universal. I can't believe he didn't have that, but here we are. So we've got ourselves a ball game now. Like I said, I really liked Fear's spot until that turn. Now I'm not so sure. He's shown the full team. He's got Last Poke meta. Last Poke not shown from tricking, but I recognize this team, and I believe it's a Marowak in the back that we're going to be seeing. Here's a Curse coming from the Lax. Looks like a difficult Pokemon, frankly, for tricking to switch into. Doesn't really have a great answer for this. He's going to get a T-Wave off, so it's a bulky defensive star for tricking, which makes sense. He's trying to spread the para around for what, like I said, I believe is a Marowak in the back. That is a hefty body slam, though. 61%. Starmie not going to be able to take too many of those. Here's Rachi coming in to resist the body slam. Gets the unlucky para, however, on the way in. 30% chance of that happening once the body slam connects. Here's Meta. Thunder, not great chances to hit between the para and the bad accuracy, and indeed does not hit. Meteor Mash, second Thunder hits. Doesn't find the 60% para, though. Now Zapdos comes in. Meteor Mash going to miss, so a little bit of accuracy nonsense happening for both players. Going to cost him 2 PP for that miss thanks to the pressure ability. Thunderbolt coming down on Lax. We have 2 paralyzed Pokemon staring each other down. And tricking not comfortable. He goes to Bliss on a rest turn. That was well played. He knew the rest was going to happen there, and this is going to get his Bliss out of trouble. She was at 10%, which is obviously very low and in danger, but she comes in at the right time, gets a soft-boiled off, and now she is very healthy. Second soft-boiled. Make that 100%. She is good to go, good as new. However, the Lax did get to kill all its sleep turns during this time, so now it's awake again, and there is the curse to apply the pressure. Lax seems very difficult for Tricking's team. This seems like a very favorable matchup for Fear, even though I don't like that he got his Dugtrio killed. +1 Body Slam just seems like something that Tricking does not have a good switch into, but he's going to fish for full para anyway. Instead of full para, he finds himself paralyzed thanks to the after effect of Body Slam. Out of the way he goes. Here's Rachi, and full para finally kicks in against Fear. We don't know its last move still. Curse, Body Slam, Rest. Could just be Shadow Ball by the way that he's playing, because he's certainly had opportunities to Earthquake, and it's not going to be Boom on this kind of team. I mean, it's got Rest, Boom, Lax, not a thing. and it doesn't have sleep talk, so process of elimination, I'm thinking it's simply last move Shadow Ball is what we're looking at here. So now we've got a D-punch going on. First one misses, second one hits. Only fair when it's literally 50-50 accuracy. He gets confusion, and he attacks himself in confusion. Now he's fishing to get some para-fusion nonsense going on. And indeed, he'll get that wish because he connects with Thunder and gets the para. The Marowak that I thought was there is in fact there, and it's going to come in on the rest turn. As good a time as any to force this Lax out, and that double edge is going to knock Zapdos into next week. Tricking takes the lead on the back of the Marowak, leaving us in a 5-4 situation. Rain Dance comes down. Sand permanently gone from this battle now, and there is Surf coming down on the Lax. 24%, but it's going to be real bulky without the sand. Fear doubles to Starmie, thinking that the Marowak was going to come in for tricking, but it did not. Now Blissey comes in. Thunderbolt, underwhelming at 9%. Unfortunately, doesn't have Hydro Pump to go for the kill here. Goes for Surf, and it's going to come up well short. Maybe Hydro Pump could have gotten him there, but he doesn't have that. And the Blissey, once again, despite being very low for the second time in this match, is going to narrowly escape her death. So now the Starmie going for Recover. T-Wave, who cares, on a natural cure poke, but there's no reason not to do that. There's the S-Toss for 31. Surf, even with a crit, is not exciting at 27%. There's the switch to Meta, and that is on an S-Toss, not a soft-boiled. So Blissey, again, low enough to where she could be in danger. Goes for the Earthquake and gets a crit. That's going to kill Starmie. Brings us to a 4-4 situation. Great crit there for Fear. Now Meteor Mash coming down, hoping for full para or a crit. Gets neither. Finds himself paralyzed after a T-Wave comes down. Now Thunderbolt. Now Boom. It all ends up being a trade. Leaves us in a 3-3 situation. Blissey and Coon now the matchup. We've got a tight late game here. Here's the double back to Starmie, thinking maybe Marowak comes in. But again, that's not what happens. Now Lax comes in on a T-Wave, blanking it. But he's got to be so afraid of the Marowak. Speak of the devil, there it is. But Fear has played very proactively around the Marowak. Great doubling for Fear. Gets the Coon in, gets free lefties off. Now he goes to Starmie. He will not let this Marowak come in safely. There is the S-Toss. There's the Surf. Doing that again in case the Marowak were to come in. But it did not. There's the S-Toss. Goes for the Recover. With no sand, it is very bulky. All these pokes going to be hard to kill, if not for, you guessed it, the Marowak. There's the Lax coming in now. He's killed 0 sleep turns. He again doubles back to Starmie, afraid of killing a sleep turn in case Marowak comes in. But Tricking has not done that. He's being very careful as well. There is the T-Bolt. I'm surprised the Tricking hasn't opted to go to Marowak on those turns, because if Fear does kill a sleep turn, it's really good, and if Fear doesn't kill a sleep turn, he doubles back to Starmie. Who cares? You can still just go back to Blissey. But Tricking sees it differently and has not opted to get the Marowak in. He does so now, and he does it at the right time when Fear opts to kill a sleep turn. Now Marowak with a free attack. Earthquake, a one-hit KO from 100% without a boost, without a crit. Marowak hits like a fucking truck and knocks the Starmie out in one shot from full health. Marowak so dangerous. Those are 101 HP subs now that the Coon is making, which is why the S-Tosses are not breaking them. That is a double boosted Coon. Here's another sub. S-Toss PP has got to be a factor here. Remember, it costs him 2 every time, thanks to the very powerful pressure ability of the Coon. Calm Mind again. Substitute again. S-Toss again. Only has so many of those left in the tank. Now Surf coming down. Does about a third. There is S-Toss. I'm not sure why he's not, after the first S-Toss, opting for Ice Beam instead to pop it. Great T-Wave catch. Looks like Coon was just short of being able to make a sub there, which is so obnoxious for him. He gets the Surf off, but it's not enough. And now Ice Beam is going to come up short. Is he out of Seismic Tosses? This is what I was talking about before. This is why when you seismic toss the first time, you follow up with Ice Beam, because you only have to do literally 1 HP worth of damage. You might as well save the 2 PP of the S-Toss. Now he's having an issue killing the Coon. He's at maximum boosts now. Ice Beam again. And full para, sure, but that doesn't solve the problem. S-Toss, he did have some in the tank, so he's intentionally not killing it here. Smart for tricking. I see what he's setting up here. He is intentionally not killing the Coon here, so he can get the Marowak in safely, which is really good. Now he finally is going to go for the S-Toss, so now it's the Lax, and now it's the Marowak. So what has to happen here for Fear is he must find a para on this body slam. Do or die. Needs it right now. And does not get it. And that is going to be the game. Fear would have won this game if he had found the para there. The Lax obviously is going to beat the Blissey 1v1. And it will almost always beat this Jirachi 1v1 as well in the long run. He needed para there. 30% chance. Had to get there and simply did not. And tricking is going to hold on and take this one down. The third game, clearly the best game here, far closer than the other two, but it is a 2-1 series victory for tricking. I'm going to go back on this one to the Dugtrio. I don't know if that ended up being the game or not, but it was definitely relevant. I really don't agree with Fear not EVing his Dugtrio to live that Ice Beam. I think the Dugtrio would have been tremendously useful for him to get picks, kill the Starmie, kill the Rachi, whatever, and really move this game along. And it's also the difference between tricking having Blissey or not having Blissey, because if the Dugtrio survives, it would have simply Earthquaked again and killed the Blissey. I really think that was the key thing in this game. It felt to me like Fear had a very winnable, if not an outright favorable matchup. The Lax seemed very difficult for tricking throughout the game. So I think Fear definitely had an opportunity to win here, and I think that Dugtrio sequence really was the key as to why he probably didn't end up winning this game. Let me know if you guys agree with that in the comments. That's my evaluation watching this for the first time, that I think not EVing the Dugtrio to live the Ice Beam really made that much of a difference. Might have been a winning versus losing difference for Fear, but maybe you guys see it differently. Maybe you guys think it's something else. Maybe I'm putting too much emphasis on the Dugtrio thing. You guys let me know. Either way, if you've enjoyed this, if you've been enjoying CALLOUS Invitational 5, do me a favor, hit that like button. Would also really appreciate if you were to subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. And of course, if you guys want to get involved, hang out with the players, see the matches live as they happen, the best way to do that is in the CALLOUS Invitational 5 Discord server, link in the description. Alrighty, guys, that's it for the night, and because that's it for the night, I got like 6 matches or some outrageous number that I have to narrate tomorrow. Not promising that I'm going to do every single one of them all in one day, but I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to get those to you soon. In the meantime, lots more CALLOUS Invitational 5 to come. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.